All right, and now another question coming in, worksheet 52, number 8. So here is number 8, and let's see. I probably want to know what kind of shape it is. So let's kind of go through all of it, right? So I know that this is A, I know this is B, I know this is C, I know this is D, I know this is E, and in this case, there is no F. So that looks kind of crazy. Discriminant test is B squared minus 4AC. So B squared is negative 2 root 3 squared minus 4. A is 3. C is 1. So that's minus 12 on the back. And this is going to be 4, because 2 squared is 4, times 3 is 12. So 12 minus 12 is 0. Oh my goodness. There you go. It is equal to 0. So that tells me it is a parabola. Right? Now, that's just nice to know. So we know it's a parabola. Remember, if it's greater than 0, it's a hyperbola. If it's less than 0, it's an ellipse. And if it equals 0, we're talking about a parabola. All right, now I don't know how to graph that because it's a mess. So I need to clean that mess up. And this looks like it may get kind of crazy. So let's see. Angle of rotation then. Angle of rotation, cotangent of 2 theta is equal to A minus C over B. So A minus C is 3 minus 1 over negative 2 roots of 3, which is positive 2 over negative 2 roots of 3, which is 1 over root 3 negative, right? So the cotangent of 2 theta is equal to 1 over root 3. So what does that mean? Well, if I use my hand trick, cotangent, that's going to be 60 degrees. However, this is arcing a cotangent, and it's a negative number. That means it's in quadrant 4. And so that's negative 60 degrees. Or if we divide it, it's negative 30 degrees. So our angle of rotation is negative 30 degrees. So there you have our angle. Now we can have some fun. All right, going back to the original. I want to figure out, A prime, right, is going to be. Now remember, it's negative 30 degrees. All students take calculus. Only cosine is positive. So A, which is 3, times the cosine of 30 degrees. Cosine of 30 degrees is root 3 over 2, but that's squared, plus B. What was B? Negative 2 roots of 3. So minus 2 root 3 times the cosine and the sine. So the cosine is root 3 over 2, like we just did, and the sine is negative a half. And then plus C, which is 1, and the sine we already said was negative a half squared. So long story short, that is what 3 times 3 is 9 over 4 for the first part, minus, what is that? 3 times 2 is 6. So plus 6 over 4. And then on the back end, what is that? Plus a fourth. So that's 16 over 4, which is 4. So there's our A. B prime, which we know should be 0, so I'm not even going to bother. Ugh, I should check. I really should check, but in effort to make this not such a long video, I will not check. C. C prime is... Clifton's going to be mad at me, isn't he? So you should check it. I have faith in you. C prime. C is 1. And then cosine squared, we have right above it, is root 3 over 2 squared. And then minus, so that'll be plus 2 roots of 3. Root 3 times 2 over negative a half. And then plus 3 times negative a half squared. And what does that give me? That gives me 3/4 plus, what is that? 6 minus 6/4. And then, what was that? Plus 3/4 again? Plus 3/4. Ooh, it disappears, which makes sense because a parabola, either A or C, should be 0. And in this case, it is. All right, what about D prime? That makes me feel a little better too about not checking B. What about D prime? D prime is D, what is D? 2 cosine of the angle cosine we know is root 3 over 2 because we've done it a million times. Cosine of the angle plus e, which is 2 root 3, times sine of the angle, which we know is negative a half. And so we get 2 root 3 over 2 minus 2 root 3. Oh my goodness, another 0. We love zeros. And then finally e prime. What is e prime? E prime is e cosine theta. So 2 root 3 times cosine, which is root 3 over 2, minus d. What is d again? 2. Cosine of negative a half. And so what is that? I see 2 times 3, which is 6 over 2, which is 3. And then here I see plus 1. And I get 4 for our e prime. So what does that mean? And then there's no f. So that means we have 4x squared, right? Because that's your a. And then we have no y's. We have no xy. We have no y's. We have no x's. And then we have a y, 4y. So plus 4y and then plus f equals 0. So there's our equation. Remember, I like to get the squares by themselves. So this would be a parabola where I would try to first get the squared stuff, all the x's on the left. Then I would divide by 4 and get x squared equals negative y. Now remember, some weirdness, I do like to factor out a 4p. So x squared is equal to 4 times negative 1/4. Seems silly. Why? Notice that would get us the negative 1, and there is my form. So now, if we go to graph paper, and we call this x, and we call this y, and we call a 30-degree rotation, I should do it in a different color maybe. This I would call x prime, and this I would call y prime. And then I build off of that, right? The center of this thing is 0, 0. And then in the y direction, I'm going to go down a fourth. So down a fourth, that's the focus. That means the directrix is up a fourth. That also means that at the focal width, it's 1 unit wide. So if this was 1 in each direction, it'd be right here and right here. And there is my attempt at a beautiful graph. All right, that's it. Stay happy.